Imagine you are a teenager near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on a Friday night, returning home from a football game or a date night when suddenly you see a figure walking the road ahead of you. Maybe he needs a ride, you think, as you slow down, and you are about to offer him one, but when he turns to face you, there is a startling sight. The man has no face. You've just seen a glimpse of the Green Man. The legend first began in the 1950s in Allegheny County, but would quickly spread as far as Ohio, and goes as follows. A man was either struck by lightning or fell into a vat of chemicals, but managed to survive. However, the accident resulted in his face being melted off, and he now glowed green. For years after, he walked the roads, and after dying, his spirit continued to walk them, and would approach any cars parked in the area, frightening the occupants. And while the legend is widespread, he seems to have a home, a particular tunnel south of Pittsburgh known aptly as Green Man's Tunnel. Built in 1934 by the Montour Rail Company, there is a second automotive tunnel beside this one, which has its own legend attached to it. Supposedly at some point, a young girl with a Corvette was trying to impress a boy and challenged another Corvette driver to a race, with the tunnel as the finish line. The race was close, and when they approached the narrow tunnel, the two cars collided. The woman was killed instantly when she flew from the car. Others say she burned to death inside the car, and still others say that she actually managed to get out of the car and throw herself over the ledge into Peters Creek, but drowned trying to put the flames out. Today, drivers through the tunnel will hear the sound of tires screeching and an engine revving, or lights will suddenly appear behind them before vanishing just as quickly. It is also said that by flashing your lights 3 times at the tunnel, you will see a glimpse of the wrecked car and the dead girl. Seeing nothing, we parked and got out, heading for the Green Man's Tunnel. The earliest haunting associated with this tunnel is that sometime the year it was built, a man murdered his wife and child in here before jumping in front of an oncoming train. Supposedly, the police amassed a large file on reports of people hearing crying coming from inside and seeing a hatchet flying towards them. The story's popularity grew when it appeared in the early 2000s show, Real Ghost Stories.
The legend of the Green Man has been passed down by countless South Park, Pennsylvania teens for decades. Although the stories differ, 2 details remain the same.
There is a mysterious figure that haunts the railroad tunnels, and he does not welcome visitors.
My name is Jonathan, and tonight me and my friends are going to go find the Green Man.
The legend of the Green Man goes back to the mid-1950s.
There was a man that worked for the electric company.
There was an old guy who lived up there in a shack years ago.
And he was climbing a pole in a storm.
He used to take a bath in the creek, and the creek back then was sulfur.
And he got hit by lightning.
He got hit with lightning.
He was a man that was injured in a high-tension wire accident.
He was electrocuted and didn't die.
He was just disfigured. He had sort of a green tint to his hair.
Children would be scared of him.
Green look to his face.
We would be scared of him.
I'm not afraid of Green Man.
That's the tunnel, you guys.
This is it.
Can't believe we made it.
I'm not afraid to go in.
You go first.
You guys here? Hello?
Oh my God. This is so gross.
Recently, the tunnel has been used as a storage place for rock salt, but there is still enough room to climb up inside. We made our way up a bit further in before we stopped to call for him.
Climb all the way through it for sure.
Would it be like you'd have to climb on your hands and knees, or?
A little bit, maybe. Yeah, you can see down there. You can see the end of it.
Oh yeah, you can see all the way through. You're right.
Yeah, watch your knees though. I just slapped my knee.
No fun. It is also said that honking 3 times or flashing your lights 3 times would call the Green Man, otherwise known as Charlie No Face, out to chase after you. Something that we are first surprised to hear everyone honking as they approach the tunnel. See, there's somebody coming from the other side. Until we remembered that we're in an area with sharp turns such as these, and it's customary to announce that you are coming through this way. So that way people would know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that looks a lot better. So, do you want to shout or do you want me to?
You do it.
Charlie No Face! Charlie No Face! Charlie No Face! With no appearances, it's easy to think this is just another urban legend built around a spooky looking place. There's just one thing about the Green Man. He's real.
Charlie No Face was Raymond Robinson. He lived in Big Beaver Borough his entire life, as far as I can tell, and he lived with family members. And what happened in the summer of 1919, when he was 8 years old, he and several friends were horsing around an old trolley bridge that used to span Wallace Run, which is the dividing line between Beaver Falls and Big Beaver. They saw a bird's nest up on the top of this bridge, and being curious boys, they decided, well, we're going to go look and see what's in that bird's nest. And Ray Robinson happened to be the one who volunteered to climb up there and look in the nest. Well, when he got up there, or on his way up, he came into contact with high voltage on the bridge and was terribly burned. In fact, the newspapers at the time gave him no chance for survival. But he lived miraculously, and in fact, the doctors called it a miracle. And despite his injuries, he lived for a long time after that.
While he remained indoors and out of sight for many years, Ray eventually grew comfortable with going outside for walks on the trails around his house. Eventually, though, the land was purchased by a mine and the trails removed, forcing Ray to find somewhere else to walk. Using 1 foot on the pavement and 1 foot in the gravel so he knew where he was, Ray began to use the county roads, only going out after sunset in an attempt to not be seen.
And he walked that road at night, which was real spooky, very spooky, and it started this big legend that it passed all around western Pennsylvania, and people started calling him Charlie No Face.
By the 1950s, the story of Charlie No Face had become so popular that on Friday nights there could be up to 100 people along the couple New Galilee Road, some coming as far away from Chicago or St. Louis. Well, at first, people might be shocked or disturbed. Once they actually met Ray, they found him a friendly man. He never minded posing for photos or chatting with his visitors. But not everyone was so friendly. Sometimes he would be teased or beaten up. There's one incident from news reports that 2 newlyweds approached Ray for directions. Unaware who he was, the bride had a heart attack when she saw him from being so frightened. While some people say he had green skin, it seems he got the moniker Green Man from an army jacket he frequently would wear. By the 1980s, Ray had to move into a nursing home and could not continue his walks, passing away in 1985. Ray Robinson had never wanted to scare anyone. But due to his condition, he has inadvertently become a boogeyman for many teens in the 60 plus years since he began walking down the roads around Pittsburgh. I'd like to think that maybe in more modern times, people would have been more accepting of his disfigurements. But in truth, just as it was then, those that didn't want to take the time to get to know him would be just as cruel. And that is perhaps the truly haunting legacy of the Green Man.